everyone, this is Joshta. Here I'm going to showcase my project Finance Tracker. Here you can enter the user ID. You can create a user, create user, and you will get a pop-up message that the user has been created successfully. Or else you can load the if the user is already created, you can just load the transaction. And here the income, expenses, and the savings will be displayed. And a pie chart of the expense will be displayed by, and here you can see the transaction history. Today I'm going to explain how to do this project. Firstly, you should create an IAM role. Select create role, AWS service, and here Lambda, and click next. And here you type Amazon DynamoDB full access. Click next. Give a role to your IAM role. And you can create your role. Nextly, you should create your Lambda functions. Create function name, create transaction, and you can select the language according to your comfortability. I'm selecting Python 3.9, and here you can add the IAM role that you have just created. Lambda DynamoDB execution. I have created this role firstly. You can add the role that you have created now, and you can create the function. I have done this before, so I'm going to show DynamoDB. Bota 3 is the API. Here I'm connecting this to DynamoDB, which is the database where the data is stored, and I have created a table in DynamoDB finance transaction. I'll show you lately how to create the table. And this is the code for the transaction. I am having user ID, amount, category, type, and data, where it is coming from the front end, and the Lambda gives the data to the backend to store. You can deploy this code and test this code by sending a uh, JSON data, and you will get an output as status code 200. The message uploaded successfully. Test. And here you can see the response status code 200 and the body and the message. Now the transaction has been saved successfully. Similarly, you can get the transaction. You should create a Lambda function for getting the transaction too. And you can add this code, and you can deploy and test this. And you can create and you should create an API gateway. API. You should create HTTP API. Build. Name this API. API. Add integration. Give Lambda. And you can give get transaction or create transaction. And here I'm giving the create transaction. Next and you can see that and keep the method as post for create transaction. And you can add another integration Lambda and keep get transaction. Here I have created for create, and this is for get. Next. add routes, get get transaction, get transaction, and next add states fraud auto deploy. Next, and you can create this API. After creating this API, I'm going to show how to create the table. Create table. Here I'm going to create the table in DynamoDB. Give a name for the table. Finance tra- tracker. Finance tracker. And you can give the partition key, user ID, and sort key as transaction ID. And keep this as strings only. And you can create the table. I've already created the table. So I'm going to show how the table is created. Here, this is my table, finance transaction, and in explore table items, you can click and see. Here is where my data is all stored in the database, which is entered in the front end. You should also create a bucket in the S3. Create bucket and enter the bucket name and add cross origin policies too. In general purpose bucket, I have already created the bucket. So I'm opening this finance tracker. Here I have uploaded my finance front-end code of HTML. You can click this and you will get an object URL where you can copy this and paste it in your browser so that you will be able to see your front-end code, and you can create the user and you can load the user. This is how the project works, and this will be your output. Thank you everyone.